From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And man, oh man, it's one of those days today. So pretty much, let's hope for the absolute best, man. So pretty much, here we are, and I'm really looking forward to a big day today. You know what I mean? So pretty much, here we are. So we got some good things going, and great things going, to be honest with you, man. That's how I feel. I'm in a great mood right now as well. I'm trying to make sure that we got everything down. I'm doing the show. I'm very committed to the show right now as well, too. I guess that Radio Row situation really sparked me back up and everything like that. So let's go ahead and jump into the wide receiver class of the wide receiver class for the upcoming draft. Talented or overrated? That's the question that I'm posing today. From what I can see here with this group, it's a good group. It really is. And you have a lot of guys in this group that can actually be game changers in a sense. But once again, this is a very, I would say, meat and potatoes draft. I don't see a lot of superstar talent in this draft. I see a lot of really good role players, in my opinion. And I think that when you really break it down, you got to go with the guy that probably had to deal with the best running scheme out of anybody out this group. You know what I mean? I think that Ohio State guys kind of stand apart from a lot of these guys because you have Jackson Smith Njiga, but he's seen as the 20th best player on the PFF board. Quentin Johnson is the number one overall wide receiver. He's number 8 ranked, but number 1 on the receiver board. Jordan Addison, who's getting a great comparison to Marvin Harrison Sr. right now. He's out of USC. And, when you look at it, you can always trust the USC guy. You can always trust the Ohio State guy. I'm not saying that. I'm not being biased or anything of that nature. It's just the facts of the situation. Let's just keep it real. If you get one of those guys in today's NFL, those guys they produce. It's that simple. You can just look at it. You got Chris Olave. He's became the best wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. You also have for USC. USC has a handful of wide receivers right now. And Amon St. Brown was a big, big reason for Detroit's resurgence and Detroit actually having a winning season this year as well, too. So, there's a lot of things that you look at and you say to yourself that this is pretty much the cream de la creme when it comes to the receivers. But then you have LSU, who has kind of became like a wide receiver in a sense. And they got Kayshon Boutte, a guy who was a part of that. I think he was a young freshman when they won that national championship a few years back. And he's a guy that was going to stick around, and then he decided not to stick around. So he's kind of indecisive. So he's a guy that's probably going to be a second, third round grade. But I think that he'll probably be a day one guy where he'll become a very, very feasible option for whomever picks him up. I think that he makes a great fit for a team like Seattle. You know what I mean? Because Pete Carroll can coach that up. It seems like Pete Carroll has the magic touch with some of these players that they say are kind of trouble coming out of college. Jalen Hyatt is a guy that is a big, big game receiver. He comes from a good pedigree. And Tennessee did have one of the better deep throwers in college football as well, too. So that's a guy that hopefully he won't just be a one route guy. If he can be better than a one route guy, he can be a very, very good asset to the team as well. But Josh Downs is the guy that really sticks out to me because he actually played with Moy a guy who I would say is probably going to be the number one pick in the draft the moment he does declare to come to the NFL. And he makes all the right throws, and he makes all the throws that they make on Sundays. Josh Downs was a big recipient of that as well too, and he had big games. So I promise, when you make a big game quarterback look good in the game, that means you're a big game wide receiver. And I think that Josh Downs does fit the bill, and he will probably be the steal of all the wide receivers in this draft. But when I say the best wide receiver in this draft, I do like Quentin Johnson a lot. Quentin Johnson's a really, really tough guy. But Jackson Smith, Jiba, is just the guy's hands are like glue. And there's another guy that we got to really look at as well, too. Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is projected to be on the New York Giants, and it's probably a good fit for him because, the New York Giants and their history with guys from Boston College. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. And I feel like this is more of a overrated position this year. I don't see that many great receivers in this draft, but I see a lot of good receivers in this draft. When you look at the first 5 guys, you say to yourself, they should be guys that are very adequate for teams. And then when you look at some of these guys, you say that hopefully they can make the transition because they didn't play with the greatest quarterback in college. And, sometimes you just have a lot of things dialed up for you and you're very talented, but sometimes you're just the only option for a mediocre situation. So that doesn't translate to the NFL. So as long as these guys come in with the idea that nothing is guaranteed, they all should be somewhat successful. But I truly think that the one that does stand out will be Jigba. But I also think the one that it has the Pro Bowl look to him is going to be Josh Downs. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. I'll talk more about wide receivers as we move along, but I just wanted to bring it up because it seems like wide receivers have been kind of put on the back burner this year. You haven't been hearing about, big game wide receivers, and they don't have one of these guys going in the top 10. This will be probably the first time in like a decade where they don't have a wide receiver going in the top 10, but we know how the draft works. Somebody might surprise us in this draft as well too, because receiver is priority for a lot of teams in the NFL right now. But you can pick up a receiver in the first round and you can pick up a receiver on the streets. It doesn't really matter. As long as he can catch a ball and get separation, he should be good to go. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, and there it is. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going down, breaking in the NBA. We got Kevin Durant, who's actually going to play tonight and make his son's debut in Charlotte. What to expect moving forward? I would say what to expect moving forward would be the ring or bust mentality for the Phoenix Suns. Now they got a guy who they feel can lead them to the promised land. And Kevin Durant feels like he has a team that's capable enough to get to the promised land, and he doesn't have to lead them. They can go ahead and he can be a luxury to this situation. I think that Phoenix did a bold move because they went all in on this situation with the idea that if they don't win this year, that they can go ahead and blow this thing up. They got a brand new owner. So why would he want to move forward with having this big cap issue on his first run? You know what I mean? I think that for this thing to stay together, they have to win a championship now. And I think if they have the mentality to do that, they can do that. But I don't think they have the coach, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of things that hold up the Suns, and the Suns literally made themselves a little weaker because they got rid of a lot of guys who were big-time role players for that team. Now those guys are in New Jersey. So I think in all, that the Suns need to really look at this situation and say that we can't fail. And this is because they don't trust Chris Paul. And pretty much they have to have Kevin Durant here so he can supply those points that they would want Chris Paul to supply. But you should never look to Chris Paul to be one of your top scorers. I think that you always need to look to him to be one of your leaders. And I think that's what the biggest problem has been the last few years here in Phoenix, is that they want Chris Paul to turn into a 30, 40-point scorer, but really Chris Paul really needs to just be the director of the show. You know what I mean? The guy that manages the team on the court, and he's the coach on the floor. That's exactly what Chris Paul does. That's exactly Chris Paul at his absolute best. And, that's exactly where they need to go. And I think that now they got guys that can play a role. And I think that's what makes people very excited about the Suns moving forward. But I just don't see the championship in them. I just don't. But KD makes his appearance tonight. And I think that this is a game that if you're looking for a solid winner for the night, this ain't the game. Okay, because this game has a lot of pressure to it. Yeah, I know Charlotte just lost LaMelo for the season, but you have to understand they just won 5 in a row, their best run of the season. So literally, they're playing their best basketball. In a lot of games like this, when a team's playing their best basketball, even when they lose one of their top players, they can still have the momentum going into a few more games because they have that confidence after winning 5 games in a row. He didn't do it all by himself. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. But I don't think that they cover tonight. They could possibly win, but I don't think that they cover tonight. So, don't get yourself too excited. Don't go in there trying to go over on Kevin Durant's points tonight. I think that he'll be lucky to get over 20 points tonight. I think he's going to take it a little easy tonight, and he's going to get to know his teammates a little bit better as well too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our next game, and that's going to be Auburn and Bama. Auburn coming into this game as the unranked 19-10 on the season. You have Alabama, who's 25-4, and this is and has a 9.5 point spread. If you came here for me to chastise Brandon Miller, I think that maybe you might need to go somewhere else with that, because I'm only here to talk about the game, and I'm going to only talk about the game. Auburn coming into this one, they need a win desperately. This team has actually dropped their last 7 out of 10. And that's a really, really funny situation because the team was so good before this little stretch. They only had 3 losses on the season. Now they got 10. And so pretty much they've only won 3 games in the process. At one point they were 16-3 on the season. Now they're 19-10. So, I wouldn't say that their tournament hopes are slipping, but you need to get it together like now. They just lost by 32 points last Saturday to Kentucky, and they barely beat Mississippi, who's in the bottom of the basement. But they had a great win over a Missouri team that's one of the top teams in the SEC. They beat them by 33. But they did have a bad loss against Vandy, losing to them by 2 points. So, I'm just going off their last few games. And you know what? They can be excused for the 3 in a row that they lost because those were to the top 3 teams in the SEC as well, too. Auburn is a dangerous team in the conference tournament, in my opinion. They got 2 more games left to go in the season, both against ranked teams. Alabama has been fairly distracted for the last few weeks, and this is a rivalry game, okay? This is a big rivalry game. You know what I mean? These 2 teams and these 2 schools absolutely can't stand each other. Roll Tide, War Eagle. We already know what the deal is. We don't even need to go that far into it. But Alabama has won their last 3 in a row, and they've actually won their last 7 out of 9 as well, too. They have 1 loss in conference play as well this year. This team has played great basketball. They lose few and far between. It seems like they can go on a 4-game winning streak, 5-game winning streak, and, before they actually catch an L. They've had some pretty close games their last 2 games, though. And I think that's something that's making me really, really like Auburn today. So with this game, in reality, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shock the system a little bit. I'm going to actually take a very high number on the money line, and I love it. It's plus 390 today on Auburn. I think that they're overselling Alabama, and they're doing this on purpose because everybody feels it's a rivalry game. Auburn's struggling. Alabama has one of the best players in the nation. They're looking at this as a game where they will be ready to go off on their rival. No, these are the worst games for teams like Alabama because their rival is the one that's in a desperate situation. Alabama could lose the rest of their game, could lose the next 3 games, and they're still going to be either a 1 or a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. They're not going to miss a real beat. So who needs this win more? Auburn. So let's go ahead and shake up the apple cart a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and take the money line plus 390. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Let's go ahead and get into what's turning into my favorite subject for the show, 30 teams in 30 days. And today, we are with the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers coming in here from 2022 season last year, 66 and 96 last year, fourth in the NL Central last year as well, too. This team actually played above expectations in a sense last year because they didn't expect this team to do much. But there was points and times where Detroit was really messing up everybody in the mix in the AL Central. So this year, you have a team in the Tigers that really are looking to try to keep themselves in the mix. You know what I mean? They got Miggy's final season, so they want to look good for the old vet. He's a guy that literally was very loyal to the Tigers. He could have left plenty of times leaving the Tigers, but he didn't. He stuck around. And he's going to be rewarded for it. I truly do think, though, they may move him for assets this year if he does have a decent season, because they'll start chirping about, oh, let's get Miggy a title because, Miggy deserves a title. And then, pretty much, and the Tigers aren't doing anything, so let's get Miggy a title. That's what it's going to be. But Miggy's not going to be in the lineup as much as you want him to be. He's a designated hitter, and they got a guy who's a bit better than him right now at the spot, Kerry Carpenter, because they're just having him. They're pretty much telling you the man is old. But Miggy, it's funny. I remember watching Miggy as a 19-year-old when he came into the MLB, and the guy, you just knew then that he was going to be a superstar in this league for a long time, and he did everything the right way. Now, Javier Baez is the most important player on this team. He comes in as a guy that, you look at it and you say that he could have signed anywhere, but he decided to sign with this team. So pretty much he is projected to hit 21 home runs next season, but he's going to be they see him as a high strikeout guy. And we all know that 162 strikeouts projected this season. So, that's something that you might need to clean up. You want to be way better than that. Hopefully he doesn't strike out that much because they only have him walking 29 times projected next year. So the guy is an impatient batter. The Tigers need him to be somewhat of a patient batter this year. Riley Green, another guy who's a high strikeout guy, but seen as one of the hitmen for this team as well. But you look at the percentages right now, Austin Meadows, their leadoff man, really good at 250, but everybody else is just, it's kind of like, all right, we're going to have to get this thing together. But I feel like these projections are they're not giving them their full grasp. I think that the Tigers are a team that's going to surprise you a little bit because of the pitching. All right, Eduardo Rodriguez was seen as a gem to the Red Sox in the beginning. The Red Sox love that guy. They were seeing him as their future ace, all this good stuff, but he just couldn't figure out how to be consistent. And I think that by the time he got consistent, it started getting, because his best win season, he had his highest ERA. But this year, they got him set up to strike out 144 and walk 52 this year. So that's a good number in my opinion. But he still has a losing record from what they're saying on the projection, 9-10. I think that he'll be better than that. I think that he might be a winning pitcher for this team because literally he's a guy that gets a lot of run support. So when Rodriguez is there's going to be a lot of over days in those games. Matt Boyd, a guy that has been a consistent pitcher for the Detroit Tigers for some time now, I think that he should be good as well this year. He should be a guy that you can trust in certain spots when it's his time to take the mound. Michael Lorenzen could make this a renaissance season where he gets it all the way back. He was decent in Cincinnati for a while. Hopefully he can get some things going in the right direction. And Matt Manning was a guy that I was kind of heavy on last year. He had somewhat of a good season to me. When it's all said, because Detroit didn't have expectations. So we have to put that into play as well too. So pretty much those four are solidified as a pitching rotation. Spencer Turnbull is actually hurt right now, but he's seen as the fifth guy, the fifth day starter. and he has some of the best numbers behind Eduardo Rodriguez. So if you can get Turnbull in time, you should be fairly decent when it comes down to the pitching. The pitching is going to be everything for the Tigers this year because the Central is a pitching division at the end of the day. The team with the best pitching, but that goes for a lot of teams in the MLB. But the best pitching and the most consistent hitting usually does the job here in this division. But you'll have your teams where they can, if you can get the pitching going, the run should be there. And that's how I feel with the Tigers. Now, are they a team that can shock the system all the way and win the division? Absolutely not. But are they a team that can go ahead and cash 200 plus MLs once or twice a month? Oh, that's going to happen. And it's going to happen, fairly frequently. So be ready for that because they're not going to be seen as a big favorite when they play teams. They are a big challenge when they play teams. So they're going to be having those days where their team is going to be a plus 250, a plus 260 when they're in Detroit, when they're in Houston playing against the Astros. By the way, a team that they've actually been really good against for the last few seasons as well, too. I know because they keep cashing tickets for me every time they play them. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into NBA. And for first, it'll be the state of the Lakers. And then we're going to get into NBA Wednesday night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper. And I'll be right back at you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, world, what's going on? Let's go ahead and jump into it. And let's go ahead and get into the state of the Lakers. The Lakers. And I think that the Lakers are on to something somewhat. And I think that we're all kind of just waiting on the baiting time. You know what I mean? The Lakers, I don't know what it is with the Lakers right now, but, they played great basketball in the first half. They actually were up 50 by 4 points in the first half as well, too. So I can't really explain what happened. You know what I mean? And also over 70.5 for the Tigers as well, too. I like the over with the Tigers this year with the 70.5. I don't know if I mentioned that part, but yeah, the over under 70.5 with the Tigers for the season. Okay, so let's go ahead, jump into the Lakers. And Lakers last night, absolutely incredible in the first half. They played excellent defense. They gave up 47 points. Ja Morant had 6 points. That's it. We go into the third quarter. The Lakers actually jumped out to another nice little 6-point, 7-point, situation where they were up and kind of cruising. It looked like that they were about to really just blow them away. But then you looked up and it was 55-55 within a blink. And Ja Morant absolutely went crazy in the third quarter last night, scoring 28 points. And this put the Grizzlies a little bit over the top in the game because it was a very close game, bucket for bucket, literally. And then by the time we got to that point of the game where Ja gets his 28 in the third quarter, he scored 47 points. They matched the same amount of points that they scored in the first half. So the Lakers scored 35 points in the third quarter, and it still wasn't enough to stay in the game. That's absolutely dreadful. They were down 8 going into the fourth quarter. So the Lakers were really moving, and the Lakers did find a way to actually, get back into the game somewhat. They got down 4 points, and then things just fell apart. But the Lakers last night played much better than most thought they would play. And they played a type of defense that if they can sustain that defense, it can turn into 20-point blowouts. The Lakers' biggest problem yesterday was they had 26 turnovers, including 15 of them at the first half, and we're still up 4 points. That's what made it unbelievable, is that the Lakers had all these turnovers and we're still up in this game. So that's why I said, if this team can take care of the ball, then literally they win the game. And tonight, if they take care of the ball, they can win the game. And I know it sounds crazy because I know people want to jump right down my throat. No AD, no LeBron, no D'Angelo. Who cares? Schroeder has shown that he can step it up when the top players are out. Also, Huchimara is a guy that needs to show what he can do as well, too. And I think that you'll get a good night from Malik Beasley, and you'll get a good night from Jarrett Vanderbilt. These guys are going to play locked-in defense tonight. Austin Reeves hit 4 threes in a row last night at one point, and his jump shot is absolutely killing it right now. Then you got Lonnie Walker, who actually scored 21 points last night off the bench. And none of us were surprised by it because Lonnie Walker is a bucket. It's straight up. You know what I mean? And Lonnie Walker had 21 off the bench. Reeves had 17. Hachimura actually had 9. And once again, my guy, Wayne Gabriel, a guy that they don't talk about enough. Wayne Gabriel had 6 points, 8 rebounds last night. I look forward to him getting way more time tonight because he's going to get way more time tonight. And with him getting way more time tonight, he could be a double-digit scorer. Now, you didn't get much from Vanderbilt in the scoring department, but you did get 8 rebounds and 3 on the offensive end. Now, AD last night had a game of games, 28 points, 19 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds, but he had 5 turnovers as well, too. That was brutal to the Lakers' overall finish. Also, Malik Beasley had 12, and then you had Schroeder with his 10. So I truly feel like tonight the Lakers can really do something with this because they did exactly what I needed them to do. I said the Lakers need to finish February 5-5. That's exactly what they did. They finished 5-5. They had a stretch where they had a 3-game losing streak. They had a stretch where they had a 3-game winning streak. So the Lakers right now, in all senses of the word, since being 2-10, the Lakers, I keep telling you guys this, they're a much better team. Even though they're not, where they need to be, they're still right in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? So they literally have sat up in here. The Lakers have literally, since that 2-10 start, the Lakers have won 27 games, okay? And they've only lost, I would say, 23? So I think that, as I keep saying, the Lakers have a lot working for them in their favor this month, okay? After this Oklahoma City situation tonight, they fly back to LA, Minnesota at home, Golden State at home, and Golden State's going to be without Curry again as well, possibly without Draymond as well too. Then they got the rematch with Memphis on Tuesday. AD should be a part of that one, and that should be a Laker win as well too, because there was nothing that was that great about Memphis last night. Like literally, Memphis will blow a game if they need to, and it looked like that last night for sure. Then you got Toronto on Friday. That should be a win, even though Toronto is a tough game. And you got the Knicks next Sunday. That should be a win as well too. And then you have a 2-game stretch with New Orleans and Houston. And then you have another 5-game home streak with Dallas, Orlando, Phoenix, Oklahoma City, and Chicago. I keep saying, if the Lakers can get 8 out of 10 of those games and say they can get 3 out of 5 of these 3 out of 5 of these road matchups, the Lakers are in good shape. The Lakers, that would mean that the Lakers in the 15 games that they're going to play this month, the Lakers would be 11-4. That would be an absolute tremendous plus towards getting into the playoffs this year. So the Lakers, that's what you need to look at, is a game-by-game situation, but a series of game-by-game situations. How will they do in this next 5? And I truly feel the Lakers go 11-4 this month. They can't have a month where it's, say, 8-7. It has to be like 11-4. They have to be 7 games ahead of 500, 7 games ahead on the win column, minimum, in my opinion. I think that I want 12-3. You know what I mean? I think 12-3 really makes it more comfortable for you. You will already be in a plan, and then you could possibly be shooting for the 6th seed, because it seems like the Clippers may fall off the face of the earth. They've already lost 3 in a row. Dallas is having their issues as well too. Clippers and Dallas looking like they're headed to the play-in right now, to be honest with you. But the way that the teams are acting in the play-in bracket play-in section, they might just all be moving parts from 7 through 10 as well too. So we'll see. But the Lakers tonight have themselves a tough task, but this is a good measurement for what these guys are capable of doing. LeBron and crew will be looking at what roles that these guys need to take on. Tonight will be a good little audition for the rest of the season on what these guys truly bring to the table. You know what I mean? And there's going to be points where you're not going to have AD, D'Lo, and LeBron on the floor for spells of time. So this is a good moment for this team to put it all together. So all in all, that's what I like there. I think that that's what we're going to do there. So pretty much Lakers tonight should be a good one. I look forward to it. It starts at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. But Lakers Thunder tonight, and the Lakers looking to go 2-1 on this 3-game road trip as well too. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next situation. And our next situation is going to be this. We're going to jump into the Celtics and the Cavaliers. The Celtics and the Cavaliers are, 2 teams in the top of echelon of the Eastern Conference. You have the Celtics, who have been the 1 seed pretty much since day one. And then you have the Cavs, who have worked themselves into the, I want to say the 3rd seed, but I want to make sure I'm all the way right. But I'm thinking that they're the 3rd seed. No, they're the 4th seed right now. They actually have the same amount of wins as Philadelphia, but they are 4 games behind. They have 4 more losses than Philadelphia, putting them 2 games behind Philadelphia at this point. But the Cavs have won their last 7 out of 10 as well too, but Boston's won their last 7 out of 10 as well. Boston, as I said a few days back, they're having probably the best month. They probably had the best month in the NBA, even though they lost the last game of the month by 15 to the Celtics by the old rival Knicks, you know what I mean? But you had they still had a great month, you know what I mean? They went 8-3. So that's pretty good moving forward. And then this month they do have a lot of road visits. They have a 6-game road trip, and then they have a back-to-back road situation as well too. So they got about 7 games on the road this month, and they got about 7 at home. So they're split, but they're on a 6-game road trip on one of these in one of these groups. So that's what I'm looking at right now, and this is a good little measurement for them as they play their next 4 out of 5 at home before they go on that road trip. So the Celtics are trying to stay above water as the number 1 seed, but here come the Bucks. That's all I can say is the Bucks are right nipping at the heels right now, and I think that this will be a very, very fun game tonight. It's a real toss 'em up game, in my opinion. You know what I mean? You got a Cleveland team, as I said before, they play great basketball in February as well too. At one point, they won 7 in a row, and they wound up going 8-3 as well. So there's a lot of things that actually are similar from both of these teams. And I think what happens tonight is no need to take a side. What we'll do is we'll take the over 219 tonight. I know that it's a low number and you feel like they're going to play some really good defense tonight, but usually in games like this, the scoring is at abundance. And I think that's going to be one of those games tonight. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so we have our next game, which is going to be a battle of the boroughs. We got Midtown Manhattan going against Brooklyn, baby. The Bridge series. They're only separated by the bridge, baby, and they're separated by the bridge and once you get to Manhattan, I would say about 30 blocks as well too, because you get right to downtown Manhattan, but Midtown is a little bit further down, but it's not that far down. So pretty much you have the Nets coming in here, 34-27 Nets on the struggle, or as Biggie would say, the everyday struggle. And then you got the Knicks who are playing out of their minds right now. They're actually sitting comfortable for a playoff spot right now as well too. You have the Nets who actually went from being that 4 seed that Cavs are right now, dropping down to the 6 seed, and they keep dropping and dropping. But they're luckily enough right now, they are a game and a half ahead of Miami. So, they still have that working for them in that accord, but they've lost their last 7 out of 10 as well, too. But I truly do think that they do hold on to that playoff spot. Now, in the month of January and in the month of February, after making that trade, they just weren't good anymore. They literally went 3-8, okay? And they got rid of Kyrie. They got rid of Kyrie kind of early in the month, and then they came back around and they got rid of KD the next week. So they literally have won one game since KD got traded. So I think they're about 1-5 since KD got traded. So pretty much they are desperate for a win tonight. So the Knicks can't take this one too lightly. The Knicks can't think that they somewhat have an advantage over this team, because the Knicks are still the Knicks at the end of the day. Even though the Knicks did finish up with a 6-game winning streak for the month of February and wound up finishing up 9-2 as well, too. One of the better records in the NBA over the February month. Now, I truly do think what happens here is that you can't sleep on the Nets tonight. And Mikal Bridges is a guy I already knew who was going to go off when he got to Brooklyn, because now he gets to be a star in the NBA, not just a role player. And I think that they could become a modern day Pistons if they can bring themselves a top-notch scorer that's a big-time team player, in my opinion. I think Brooklyn has that edge to them that they could be the new bad boys if they want to be. Because, come on, they play in Brooklyn. So when I look at this one, I say to myself, let's go ahead and we're going to be a little cute tonight. We're going to take the Nets on a spread. I like them with the plus 7.5. We'll probably get 8 by tip. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And this could be a sneaky dog tonight as well, too. So, all the options are there. But the Nets look like the Nets are the bet. So either you like them on the money line or you like them on the points to get the insurance. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. It's going down in the garden tonight. All right, so we are moving forward, and we have ourselves the Grizzlies and the Rockets. The Grizzlies and Rockets, two teams going in two separate directions right now. The Grizzlies are a team that has kind of been stagnant, but they're still in the position that they're in, because at one point they won 11 in a row, and then at another point they lost 8 out of 9. So last month they were actually 5-5. The Lakers, that Laker game right there, made sure that they had a 500 record. They were even. And I think that, pretty much when you look at the Grizzlies are going through what every team goes through when they get to a really hot, great start. They hit that wall. And I think that by them being a little too full of themselves, a little too arrogant, it's caught up with them, because guys are going a little bit harder on them now because they acting like they're the NBA champ. So we got to go at you like you the NBA champ. So I think that, Ja has been good at adjusting to it, but I don't think the others have been good at adjusting to it. Jaren Jackson has been a godsend this year. with the way that he plays defense. I saw a lot of things with him last night that I like. If that guy can stay healthy, eventually one of these days he could possibly win MVP of the NBA. He's definitely going to win Defensive Player one of these years, but I think that he has the capability of a Kawhi. If he can stay healthy, he can really be the best player in the NBA because he can do it on both ends of he's fantastic on both ends of the floor. I know it sounds crazy today, but if you put him in New York City, you put him in LA, he could be they would be talking about MVP candidate, but the guy got to stay healthy as well too. So, the Grizzlies do have themselves a good 1-2. I like to call it NBA Jams duo, in Jackson and Morant. But they're not getting much out of the supporting cast right now. You thought that the supporting cast was better, that they good, but a lot of those guys have been hurt pretty much all season. So they've played great basketball, but they've played bad basketball this year as well, too. So you just really can't get a real idea of who this team truly is. So, Memphis tonight, this is a game where they could easily slip up because the Rockets are in desperation mode right now. The Rockets won one game last month, okay? And then proceeded to go ahead and lose 7 in a row. So, not even 7 in a row. They actually lost 10 in a row. So they wound up finishing 1 in 10 last month. So that's absolutely atrocious. And literally, when you look at their last 5 games, they were absolutely taken to the woodshed. 19, 37, 15, 17, 21. These are the points that they lost by, double digits. Last close game that they had was February 10th against Miami, and they lost by 2. All this was on the road, okay? So they go back home tonight, a place before where they were doing pretty good at, and they going against the team that is in their conference, in their division as well too. So this game is going to be fun, but at the same time, you got a Houston team that's on a 10-game losing streak right now. So, a lot of people are going to really go ahead and overbet the Grizzlies tonight. They're definitely going to overbet the Grizzlies tonight. But I truly think that, okay, don't jump in here trusting the Rockets tonight. You know what I mean? Because the Rockets have lost 10 in a row, and they don't even seem desperate anymore. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real. They don't seem desperate. But what happens in games like this, when you know that you can dominate a team, the Grizzlies might go ahead and say, let's turn up the defense a little bit tonight. We don't have to worry about scoring because all we got to do is lock it up on these guys. And I'm playing with that thinking right there, and I like the under 231 Grizzlies Rockets. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward to our next game. Our next game is a doozy. It's going to be the Magic and the Bucks. The Magic coming to this game, a team that is much better. They were awful to start the season, but they are much better now. I think they were 1-7 to start the year. They're 26-36 now. So that means that this team won 25 games and actually have lost only 29 now. So, that's good to trim that down the way that they did. And, they're such a young team, and they actually became a better team when they were able to get rid of, guys that just were on the bench. Mo Bamba's a really good player, but he didn't play up to the potential that they wanted him to. And once again, the Magic were a team that made the same mistake that Minnesota made for a decade. You keep drafting guys at the same position. You keep drafting the same 6'10" guy that has somewhat of a dribble, and he's supposed to be a post player, but then you want him to be a wing. You want him to be this, that, and the third. And, you just keep missing on the Jonathan Bender prototypes. And it's just not working for the Magic. But they've done well getting Cole Anthony, and that was something that put them in a different stratosphere. And also getting Jalen as well, too, who's hurt. But that was pretty good, getting him out of Gonzaga as well, too. So, they got some things going in their favor. And, Banchero is a guy that nobody's getting that excited about yet because they want to see more. But Banchero is a guy that really is, one of those guys. And he's probably going to have a really good career. But will it be in Orlando? That's the question. Now, they did win 6 games last month, and they lost 5. So they had a lot of back and forth during the month. They had literally every game except for two where they won back to backs. It was either a loss or a win. So this team is alternating wins and losses a lot more, and they did that a lot January as well too. So this team does have a winning record in 2023. So Orlando is not the same old little kids that you can pump in every game. Orlando is always a team that's going to really make you work for that victory. So tonight against the Bucks, a team that's absolutely crushing it right now, and I know a lot of people are like, "Man, the Bucks are crushing it." I'm not fading them at all because they not losing. They haven't lost any games. They won 10 in a row in February. They went 10 and zip in February. Literally going undefeated in a month, that's a tough feat in the NBA. Last year, the Suns did it. This year, the Bucks do it. Now, winning 5 in a row to close up the month, that was even more incredible because of the teams that they played. But they played against some really good teams this month as well, too. I'm counting it right now. I'm going to count the Lakers somewhat as a playoff team. Every team on here is either in the playoff race or in the playoffs right now. So that's absolutely incredible for a team that won the championship a few years back. But they're running into a little bit of a controversy right now because you got Giannis, who's actually hurt right now. So there's a lot of things that, you tell yourself that this team needs to really kind of buckle it down a little bit and get ready for the big storm that's coming. You know what I mean? Because they are marked men. It's that simple. And I think tonight is a game where they're going to be very, 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 you know, chill in a sense. They're not. It's not an urgency to win. They've won 15 in a row, and after a while, you don't get tired of winning, but it gets tougher and tougher every night. And I think that this is the perfect storm because it seems like Orlando has played so good against the top teams on the road. So I love Orlando tonight with the plus 260. How about that? That's going to be our NBA dog of the day right there, plus 260. And be confident in my dogs of the day. We hit Indiana last night at plus 290, okay? We hit Indiana last night at plus 290. Did we hit it on Monday too? I'm checking if we hit it on Monday too. Because, that's what we do. And Monday, we had the Pistons. We missed that one because, they just didn't show up against the Hornets. But it was still a good spot because you don't give the Hornets minus 6.5. I don't care. You know what I mean? Even though they won by 11, I don't care. I'm still not going to do that. That team is terrible. They hadn't even won 20 games yet. So, plus 290 tonight with this one, plus 260, I'm sorry, is a good number. We should get something home with this. I like it. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it checks out. We'll move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our final game of the group, and that's going to be the Pelicans and the Blazers. Pelicans 30 and 32 right now. Blazers 29 and 32. There is, and you're very welcome, sir. And as you guys can see, the Rel, he played the Pacers last night. He cashed out on the Pacers last night. Come on, we saw it. We felt it coming. We knew it was coming because you had a team winning so much, in the well, not winning so much, losing so much in the Mavs. And it's just the chemistry is gone because they got rid of Dinwiddie and Finney and all these guys that were really good for Luka. Now Luka has to play with crybaby Kyrie, and it's not going to work because they both crybabies. You know what I mean? And I'm waiting for them to say that they had a fight in the locker room or an argument in the locker room because it's coming, without a doubt. All right, so Blazers. I feel like I've been covering the Blazers all week. Like, damn, Blazers, do you take a day off ever? Seriously, because I know we talked about them with the Warriors the other day. So, I'm like, again, but this is what I have here tonight. You know what I mean? So I have to go with what I have here tonight. And let's see what happened. Did they lose to the Warriors last night? I think they did. So, they're trying to bounce back. Yep, they did lose to the Warriors by 18. Now you got a Pelicans team struggling right now. They lost their last 4 in a row. They actually finished up. They didn't, it was a weird month for them last month. They were at one point they had won 3 in a row, and they felt like they were getting it back together. And then they go off and lose the next 5 out of 6 to close out the month. And so they finished the month 4-6. So pretty much their team is looking to get this thing together because they're running out of time. Let's just keep it real. You know what I mean? They went from being the number 1 seed now to the 10 seed. And luckily enough, the Lakers lost last night, because if the Lakers would have won, then they would have been out of the play-in last night. The Lakers would have been in the play-in last night. That's what's upsetting to a lot of Laker fans today, is like the Lakers would have been in the play-in last night if you would have just won, damn it. So the Pelicans and Portland actually are playing for the 10 seed tonight, or the jousting of the 10 seed. So if Portland was to win tonight, they would actually jump into the 10-hole spot. And New Orleans would actually regress back to number 11. They will be out because Portland is a half a game back. And it's crazy because they're both playing each other. All in all, if you are a Laker fan, you probably want Portland to win. But if you are a true Laker fan, you probably want them to just forfeit it and neither team wins. But somebody got to win. So pretty much this game tonight, you have New Orleans, who could have been better this month, but they weren't. They waiting on Zion. They've been waiting on Zion since they drafted him. Literally, he's had great moments, great games, but Zion is a very injury-prone person. So 1-5 since Kyrie arrived. They've already played 6 games with Kyrie. That's crazy. And then the only win that they got was the win that you're supposed to get. That was against the Spurs. Like, seriously, it's not good, right? It's not sunny in Dallas right now, but is it sunny anywhere? So you got Portland. Portland actually won 5 games in February, and they lost 6. So they are looking to have a good month. But I'm looking at their schedule right now, and their first 5 games are going to be tough, except for Detroit. But other than that, they have a tough schedule. And they have themselves a 6-game road trip as well, too. So, but they also have a 5-game homestand this month. And at one point, as of March 14th, they'll have actually 8 out of 9 of their next games at home. So I would say Portland is a team that probably is on the up and up, and New Orleans is on the downswing. And I think that Portland and the Lakers actually will step into these playing spots once Utah and New Orleans get out the way. Let's just keep it real. They're going to get out the way soon, okay? Minnesota will still be around. Dallas will still be around. And Golden State, how the hell do you keep being in the mix? The other day they were on the brink of being out of the play-in. Now they've moved back into the 6th spot, and you got Dallas who's faltering to the side. And the Clippers are starting to tumble a little bit too. So this is going to be fun. So we're going to see how it goes and see how it checks out. But there it is. Tonight, I'm going to take the Blazers with the spread, and let's see if we can get some money here. So let's go ahead and jump into those conference tourney bets. And with the conference tourney bets tonight, we got ourselves 3 conference tournaments tonight. And most of them and they're all starting the first round as well, too. So the first one that we have up is going to be the Big South. The Big South, we got High Point tonight. High Point is in a game where they are, where it's you can pick either side. It was tough because Charleston Southern is really good, and they got a good win against Presbyterian yesterday as well, too. But we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? Well, actually, they beat Presbyterian, but that wasn't yesterday. That was a Saturday. So pretty much you had Charleston Southern. They actually lost 7 in a row before winning that game. So they're dangerous tonight. That's why they have them so high. And, both these teams are 14 and 16 as well. And, at one point, High Point had a really bad stretch. But now this team has actually won their last 3 out of 4 games to end the season. And I think that this team is going to be tough because they played every single one of those games very tough as well, too. So I think that High Point is going to be much better tonight, but this can go either way. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. Campbell, on the other hand, I know Campbell's in a tough spot tonight, but Campbell is always a clutch team that you can trust. Presbyterian is 5 and 26. I know that I say that teams are going to play with effort because it's their, it could be their final college basketball game, but this is the type of team that's going to get smoked. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And that's going to be the first round for the Big South. All right, we got the first round for one of my favorite conferences, the NEC, the Northeast. We got Brooklyn. We go hard. Brooklyn been going real soft this season, but this time around, though, I'll take them with the plus 16 and a half. They were 17 and a half, but they dropped them down a little bit. And this could be a monster upset tonight as well, too, because the Northeast has a mind of its own. Let's just keep it real. Then we got St. Francis, Pennsylvania tonight. A team that I really think that can go ahead and possibly win this tournament as well, too. So pretty much, I think St. Francis, PA, should be a good spot tonight, even though they're 12 and 17. But I still like them. Wagner, I actually have Wagner as my winner of the tournament, and Wagner's 10 to 1, and Wagner's 15 and 12. Sacred Heart's a tough game, because they are playing on a neutral court, but it don't matter to me. I'm going to take Wagner with the plus 115. I think they walk into Connecticut tonight and they get themselves a good win. You know what I mean? Fair, and let's see how it goes. Let's see how it checks out. And then we wrap it up with Fairleigh Dixon. Fairleigh Dixon is the number 1 team in the conference as well, too. 10 and 6, actually, Marymount is the number 1 seed, but best record in the conference overall is FDU. So FDU, I think that FDU really does roll in this spot. And, I know St. Francis NY is really good, but I think that they're going to pop them tonight. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we'll go from there. All right, we have the OVC tourney first round, SE Southeast Missouri. I like them a lot tonight as well, too. I think that this should be a good spot for them to go ahead and take care of their business. And then you have South, what is this? South Illinois Edwardsville. Yeah, this is Edwardsville, actually. And I like them with the minus 130 tonight. I don't need to go too much into the OVC because we know that this is really a toss them up. Both these games, to be exact. I know Edwardsville is going to be tough for me tonight because Southern Indiana is not coming to, go home. And Lindenwood is brand new to this, but they're still going to be tough because they're brand new to this. All right, so we have ourselves the CBB PrimeTime PK6. We got the 35 to 1 ticket right now with Providence minus 165. Brooklyn with the plus 17 and a half. We got Tulsa with the plus 14. We also have SE Southeast Missouri 7.5, and then we have Campbell with the minus 6. Then we also have TCU with the minus 165. That's 35 to 1 CBB PrimeTime PK6. Now we have the pick 4, 51 to 1, the dog day, Auburn, my dog of the day in college basketball, plus 390. Fordham, my money guys, them boys from the Bronx, plus 140. Let's get it. Wagner, plus 110. And then we finish up with Seattle U, plus 110, 51 to 1 on that ticket. Then we get to wrapping it up here with the super high 5, 47 to 1. We got the over 219 with the Cavs and the Celtics tonight. We got the Nets with the plus 7.5 in the Bridge series. Also, we have the under 231 with the Grizzlies and the Rockets. And then we also have the Magic tonight as our NBA dog of the day, plus 260. And we wrap it up with the Blazers at minus 1.5. So there it is. There it is. Talking Tickets. It's my favorite. I hope it's your favorite as well, too. But there it is. And that's going to be all of our tickets for today. And I know I'm kind of rushing because I'm trying to make sure that I'm up underneath an hour. so I don't have to do a small edit on this. You know what I mean? So pretty much, I thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And once again, this is the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. And I'll be right back at you tomorrow. I'll be unveiling my group for the I'll actually be unveiling my group for the for the tourneys and everything like that in college basketball. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. And I look forward to giving that out to you guys as well, too. All the guys, all my little future bets that we have on the available odds that are there. Okay. So I have to let you guys know that part as well, too. So I thank you guys very much for tuning in. And you guys, once again, are the absolute best. There is no me without you. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.